My brother-in-law wants to fuck my wife. Sorry, I'm not sure if this is a good place to post this. I am 31, my wife is 29, my brother-in-law is 23. I came home tonight from work to find my wife awake and needing to talk to me. She's usually asleep, I work night shifts. She told me that earlier today, her brother, he's actually her half-brother, texted her, telling her he wanted to have sex with her. After a few replies of, "Are you joking, / what are you talking about / etc., he absolutely proposed that they have sex. His reasoning was, it could bring us closer together. My wife was disgusted and freaked out about the whole thing and he dropped it after a few, "Are you sure you don't want to?" messages. She hasn't talked to him since. Bro-in-law is also engaged and bought a house with his fiancée, FYI. My wife is understandably very upset. She doesn't think she'll ever be able to see him the same and thinks she might have lost her relationship with him forever. I think she probably feels pretty violated, too. I don't even know how I feel. I feel like I should be extremely pissed and or freaking out, but the whole situation is so surreal. It doesn't even feel like it's happening, like it's the kind of thing that would never happen to you. It doesn't help that we'll be seeing him at a family function on Saturday. My wife doesn't want me to tell anyone. I think she's ashamed and embarrassed. I think she feels like it might be her fault for some reason, even though she absolutely didn't do anything to cause this. I also feel like his fiancée deserves to know. I'm not exactly sure what the point of this post was. I guess, does anyone have any advice? Has anyone ever gone through something like this before? TLDR, brother-in-law wants to fuck my wife, she's disgusted and upset and is worried she's lost her relationship with him forever. Update, just talked to my wife a little more about this. She said there were probably 20 or more texts during the conversation and he referenced something that happened between them when they were children. So, it's hard to believe it's a joke or someone else. He did ask her not to tell anyone. For everyone that is blaming his fiancée, she actually works with my wife, awkward, and was there yesterday when this happened. Everyone saying that my wife is faking it for attention can go fuck themselves. She is absolutely distraught. We're going to work on trying to retrieve the texts when I get home from work tonight. Update 2, sorry for lashing out, I've been much more upset about this today. I let the comments about my wife faking it get to me, just because I'm seeing firsthand how much this is hurting her. After what took forever, we were able to recover the bulk of the conversation. And again, after reading it, it's hard not to believe it was him. We're still unsure of what we should do, but we're leaning towards meeting with him, letting him explain himself, and telling to shut up about it forever. I still feel like his fiancée should know, but my wife's worried about the ensuing shitstorm that would follow. My wife's still having a hard time just talking about the situation, so I'm trying to give her some space until she's ready to deal with it. We'll see what happens. To everyone offering advice and kind words, thank you very much. It really means a lot to me and has been helpful. My wife cheated after 14 years, while drunk/high, but wants to fix things. I'll try to keep this short as possible and I doubt anyone will even read this, but maybe just putting it into words will help me. My wife was my best friend. The majority of the last 14 years has been wonderful. I loved her more than anything, and she loved me too. She is a great person, with a bit of a temper, but she was the ying to my yang. I am a very even-tempered person, and I try my hardest to stop and think before I act, while she is a bit more carefree and emotional. But, it was a good mix. She was the other part of me that I was missing, and I to her. We had been a happy child-free couple for many years. She had always told me that she did not want children. I had a daughter many years before we met, and she helped take care of her when she visited. She was a great second mother to her. Like any couple, we had our ups and downs. There was some issues with her getting too close to a coworker years ago. She lied about the problem initially, but eventually we worked past it, and I thought we were stronger than ever. We went out together a lot. We drank a little more than we should have for our health, but I didn't see it as a drinking problem for either of us. We both worked in hospitality, and it kind of goes with the industry. Then she changed her mind about having a baby. Maybe it was that she turned 30 and baby fever kicked in, or maybe it was seeing her sisters so happy with little ones that changed her mind. It doesn't really matter. But, we had the conversation one night, and I told her that I would love to start a family with her. However, the timing was bad. The short version is that both of our jobs were possibly about to end, and we didn't know exactly what was going to happen in our near future. We eventually got back on our feet, after what turned into a devastating year for us where we lost everything and had to start over. During the bad times, she started drinking more and more. She has a family history of alcoholism. Things got pretty bad for a while with her behavior because of drinking and depression from us having to start all over. But, as I said, we pulled out of it, we got back on our feet and started putting our lives back together. However, her drinking continued to be a problem. She would get drunk and mean and call me names. She got drunk at work and was fired for drinking on the clock. She was still my wife, and I still loved her, so I tried to support her and help her. She would quit drinking heavily for a while, and then a few months later go right back to it. She was always sorry when she was sober, and most times were still good, but once a month or so she would get wasted and tell me she hates me and that she is leaving me for a real man that will have a family with her. I tried to tell her that we can't have a family while you're drinking and acting this way. A few months ago, things started to really go downhill. She started drinking every day, including hiding alcohol and lying to me about her drinking. She also started doing cocaine on an almost daily basis. I don't judge drug use, we had done it together plenty of times in the past, but not often. She was lying to me about her drug usage. I confronted her several times, I reminded her that she told me she wanted to start a family, but was not acting in a way that could ever have that happen. Then it happened. She was hanging out with a guy that I thought was a friend, but it turns out he was not. She was drunk, they were doing coke together. He and I had previously had a few discussions about our problems, and he used that information to say all the things she wanted to hear. He manipulated her into getting laid. Yes, she still did it, and it was still her decision, she was not our *****D. But he did prey on a drunk woman, gave her cocaine, and when he got laid, kicked her out of the house. I had to pick her up that night. She gave me a story about them going to get more coke from his house, and he started throwing up, and then she just wanted to get out of there. If she would have became to me immediately after that happened and confessed, and was willing to change, I think I could forgive her on the spot. Get her help and try to move on. However, that didn't happen. I found the text messages they sent each other about a week later. I confronted her, she told me what happened, and she agreed to leave and go back to her parents' house. That where she is currently. When I found the messages, I didn't know that she was as fucked up as she was that night. I also didn't know how much he had manipulated her to get laid. I have since found out that he has done this before, and this is his MO for getting laid. He is a horrible person that waits and preys on girls that are vulnerable. That is just gross. She is incredibly sorry. She knows that what she did was wrong, and she admits that what happened that night was her fault, even if he said all the right things. She wants to try to work this out and try to save our marriage. She has already quit drinking, and says she will never drink again. She says that she was angry that we didn't have a family, but knows that the reason we didn't was because of her. She has said that this was the rock bottom she needed to hit to fix herself and to be the person she used to be. I don't know how to move forward. She was my best friend. She was the love of my life. I know that without the drugs and alcohol none of this would have ever happened. But, how do I ever trust her again? And even if I can eventually trust her again, the basic problem that we had was starting a family, and I don't think I can trust her enough in the time we have left to start one. Her biological clock is ticking. I want nothing more than to have back what we had before our lives were destroyed, but nothing can turn back time. Nothing can undo what has happened. I realize that I wasn't perfect either, no one is. But, am I just prolonging more hurt in the future? What do I do? Edit. Yes, I was vague on some of the details, including age. For anonymity, no, I was not a predator. We were co-workers and friends. She was 20, I was 27. Yes, she was a bit younger than I was. But, we were friends that had both gone through a bad breakup recently. We started chatting and bonding, and one thing led to another. Also, yes, it took more than 1 year for us to get back on our feet. It has now been several years since we had the initial baby conversation. TLDR wife started drinking and doing drugs and cheated on me. She swears she is done with drinking and wants to come back and start a family together.